Today's High Performance Podcast is brought to you by Josh Phegan Digital. It's the only place to track and keep yourself accountable by looking at all of the essential numbers, from buyer appointments, market appraisals and listing appointments, to listings, sales and income, and working in 45-minute sessions. You'll find it all on Josh Phegan Digital. Welcome to High Performance, the podcast featuring Josh Phegan and Alexander Phillips. Alex, I'm really conscious that at this time of the year, you start to get a couple of listings that might be what we go to call B or C grade listings. You know, an issue with a structural deflect, a floor plan issue, but ultimately a pricing issue. And the volume of buyers are just not coming through. Like your A grade stock is selling like there's no tomorrow, but there's that one or two that's like a B or a C grade listing where you've got a problem. Ultimately, you want to get those properties repositioned in October and early November, as opposed to being positioned in December to actually get to sold. What are some things that you can do to say to your owner to get them in a position that they actually get sold before Christmas? And what sort of decisive conversations would you be having earlier to make sure you get that property sale back on track if it hasn't gone the way you thought it was going to?
So firstly, Josh, I think a lot of these conversations that agents would already start to be having is that they're actually tired.
Yes.
And they're the ones trying to push it out. You know, they're also trying to get listings for next year, and they're like, you know, have we, you know, is the market off? Have we had enough? And it's probably because they're being lazy and not doing what they should be doing on the energy focus on you know, what you'd normally do. So.
And just like kind of hoping that the marketing's going to work for you. Yeah. Once the marketing stops, you're going to ring other buyers.
So
right?
I think it's the excuses are creeping in with the agents. So you've probably got to firstly go back to, if it's January, how would you sell a house? What energy you put in? What callbacks are you doing? What 10-day callbacks are you doing? Where are you finding buyers? What
like lookalike campaigns, old open section callback booklets.
Just firstly re-energize yourself, because those vendors you got to pick, because they might be highly motivated to sell, and you're pushing them away, and they're going to go, these guys, you can actually burn people very quickly. Like we've done a few this week. Well, not burnt, but they've, you know, taken them off. Maybe because I didn't feel, you know, the energy or whatnot. So sort of, you know, we've refocused and, you know, got others where they're probably not as energized back on track. But generally what we would do, all of our vendor meetings, like those properties at the moment, also when they're like a bit deflated and whatnot, is giving them options, giving them 4 options or 3 options.
Okay. So
option one, like one that we sold recently, so you've passed in a property, it's still, you know, hasn't sold, it's re-auctioning it straight away.
So recommit to a new auction date?
Yeah, straight away. Like, go, let's re-auction in 3 weeks' time with a new, but you have to lower the guide price and push out the auction. That's a great option.
Of course, the recommitment on marketing too.
Option 2 is to put it for sale. Option 3 is pull it off the market. Option 4 is pull it off and relaunch it in January. Yeah. What are your thoughts? January's too late, we want it sold now. Well, let's go. You know, like you sort of, but it's also like you're not positioning them into like having to take. You're not just going down one angle and like you sort of, you can burn them. You know, because you're not really giving them like any options or strategy. Like that's the thing, is a lot of agents don't have any sort of strategy. So you're giving them like a suite of ideas, is what we call it, and it actually helps you rebuild or, you know, keep the rapport levels and the trust levels really high with that owner.
Yeah, so I was thinking about it, say, Alex, here's a menu of some things that we can do. We can change some things around marketing, photos, video, copy. We can be in a position, we can change the position, we can do some extra social stuff, we can do an extra e-brochure, we can make all of that happen, right? And most of that's already included in your subscription on the major portals. The second thing, we can do something about sale method. So like auction for sale, push out the auction date, make that happen. EOI, you know, weird but possible. Next one after that is then we then go and have a look at, okay, well, we can go to change pricing. So we can change to a guide of a 10% range. We can be in a position we can change to a fixed dollar amount. You know, so we can actually go to do those things. And often what I find is that like the agents have got to now start to go and put a bit more energy around it to say, this one's not selling, but what other campaigns have we sold in the last 12 months where we know a similar buyer would have walked through? Anyone who would have walked through Red Street and Green Street should be coming to Blue Street. Back on the phone, let's ring those buyers and see if we can get them down. And the secondary part, if we've done market appraisals of 3-betters, can we ring any of those 3-better market appraisals to come walk through this 4-better? Because if they like it and then they want to buy it, then they'll go and sell their 3-better. And maybe that's in a price range that's a little bit more saleable to be able to sell that one quickly, to be able to unlock a buyer at that 4-bedroom level. And so this is that thing about like really putting energy and effort and, you know, no offer, no decision. So often what I say is that like rather than just going having a conversation with your owner where there's been no action for 2 weeks, get more action on that property, get a couple of private buyer appointments on it, try to see whether or not you could get it off, or at least an indication of where the buyers would see the interest. So then when you go and have the conversation, then they can actually see you've been doing the work. And then if you're in a position that ultimately they say, yeah, okay, great, let's make a price change, get a buy through in the following 24 hours, because so that price change actually equals market activity and results. And what I'm saying is a lot of agents, like, they'll do one or two of those things and then nothing changes, and then the owner kind of loses trust that their advice actually doesn't get a result. And I saw this recently where a property had a substantial price reduction with an agent. The owner decided to pull off the market. They gave it to another agent who put it back on the market, increased the price by $300,000 and sold it in a week. So it clearly goes to show that literally it really is about who you know and how you got to work with the buyers.
100%.
That makes a massive difference in the overall sales result.